Hi everyone, this is Athena from Courage Coaching. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you are new here, then please click on the subscribe button and make sure you click on the bell that says all notifications so you can actually get notifications for anything new that I upload. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about the characteristics of a narcissistic mother. I know I've made videos about the narcissistic mother before, but for any new subscribers on this channel, it is a good opportunity to have a fresh video out there so you can help yourself if you have dealt with a mother like this. It's important that you know what the characteristics, what the traits are, what to look out for in a mother in order to better protect yourself in the future. Because you may have already been terribly affected by having had such a mother, but it's not too late to make a change and it's not too late to heal yourself now. Now, the first important characteristic that you will notice in a narcissistic mother is that she treats you like an extension of herself. Now, what does this mean? Not a lot of people can understand this. When a narcissistic mother sees her child as an extension of herself, she essentially lives vicariously through her child. She expects her child to do everything that she wants that child to do. She lives through that child as if it's her own life. And this may be because there were certain things in her childhood that she didn't get to do, and she wants her child to do them. So you will notice that a mother like this will have extremely high expectations of her children. She will want them to go to the best schools. She will want them to join the swim team, the basketball team. She will want them to study a very specific subject. She will want her children to be lawyers or doctors. She will want her children to be perfect at what they do, and she will expect them to do everything that she wants them to do. A narcissistic mother will not ask her child, "What makes you happy? What would you like to study? What do you see yourself doing when you finish school?" A narcissistic mother will not care about this, and she will expect her child to do things the way that she wants that child to do them. And if they don't agree, she will find ways to make them agree. She will make them feel guilty. She will withdraw any affection, any love. If she's a mother who spends a lot of money on her children, she will withdraw that money. She will punish the child for not going along with what she says. This is a very clear sign that your mother is narcissistic. Another very important characteristic of such a mother is that she doesn't respect boundaries. She constantly violates boundaries and does things to make the child feel uncomfortable. A very good example of this is when a child, maybe in their teenage years, tells their mother that they've had sex for the first time. Well, the narcissistic mother will not respect this as something private. She will go and share this with all her friends. She will even have a bit of a giggle about it. And then she'll tell her friends that she went to the doctor with you and made sure that you were put on contraceptives. Or it may be that she noticed that her son had his first wet dream. Again, she won't keep that private. She will share that with her friends, and she will make her child feel ridiculed. Another crossing of boundaries is when she will go into her teenage son or daughter's room. She will read their diaries. She won't allow them to have any privacy. She won't allow them to lock the door when they use the bathroom. All of these things are overstepping of boundaries, violation of boundaries. A child is still allowed to have privacy, especially when they're a teenager. So when a narcissistic parent doesn't respect boundaries, then this is a clear sign that they may have narcissistic traits. Another important characteristic of a narcissistic parent is that they don't mind dishing out criticism against everybody else, against her children, but she cannot take criticism herself. Narcissists have a very shaky facade that they put on. And if you scratch the surface of that facade, they will lash out, they will get angry, they cannot handle this. Now, of course, when you have a narcissistic parent, they do have a history of trauma. They do have a very fragile sense of self, which is why the facade, this mask that they wear, is so important. They want to appear like they have it all together. They want to appear that they're successful, that they're happy, that everything's going really well. But the minute there is a slight disagreement, the minute you criticize your parent or somebody says anything that's negative, they really, really cannot handle it. They always have to keep this facade intact. And if anybody dares to question them or criticize them, they will receive that lashing out, that anger. Or the narcissistic mother will play the victim card and become a victim in the moment. Now, another characteristic is the victim card. A narcissistic mother enjoys playing the victim very, very often in order to get her needs met, in order to manipulate others, in order to make sure that others are always the ones at fault and that it's never her that makes a mistake. She will not apologize. She will not be held accountable. Another very important characteristic of a narcissistic mother is that she will guilt trip you and she will hold her parental duties over your head. So she will make you feel guilty. But to hold your parental duties over your child's head is extremely toxic because that child didn't ask to be born in this world. That child didn't ask to have a parent who is so emotionally immature and toxic. Another thing you will notice from a narcissistic mother is that they are constantly competing with you. They are envious of you. They want to do better than you. And if you dare try to outshine them in any way, then this mother will make sure that she sabotages you so you don't do better than her. You're not allowed to outshine a narcissistic mother. The narcissistic mother always has to be higher in success, in beauty, in all sorts of things than her child. And if she sees that her child starts doing better, she will make sure that she takes it down a notch. And it's only in some cases that she wants her child to do brilliantly, because then she can show off to the world, to her friends, that look, I was such a good mother, and because I was such a good mother, my son or my daughter is successful, and it's all because of me. But this is the only reason. Otherwise, this kind of mother does not like when her children do better than her, especially if she has a daughter. She doesn't want her daughter to outshine her. With a son, it's a bit different. But with a daughter, this is where things get tricky. Another thing that you will notice in a narcissistic mother is that she's not able to empathize with her children. She isn't able to truly listen to them. She isn't able to offer real support, real comfort. And generally people with NPD struggle to show empathy. They are always very self-focused, very self-centered, and their needs always come first. The child's needs are not that important, unfortunately. And lastly, a narcissistic mother will constantly deny the child's reality by gaslighting the child. This mother will constantly tell the child that they are remembering things wrong, that didn't happen. If the child complains about something, she'll say, well, you're remembering that wrong, that didn't happen. She will constantly flip the script and make it out to be, well, actually, no, it wasn't me that said that, it was you that said that. You're the one that said those things, not me. She will always make it out to be that you don't remember very well, or that something didn't happen that way. She will always make sure that she looks good in those moments, that you're wrong and that your memory is not very good. You don't remember things the right way. Now, if you are a child of a mother like this, what are the things that you can do to help yourself? How can you heal yourself? Well, first of all, inner child healing. This is extremely important. When you have had a parent like this who is extremely toxic and emotionally immature and wasn't able to meet your needs, you will have felt neglected, abandoned emotionally. You wouldn't have had certain things that a child needs. So you will have to heal that younger part of yourself. That younger part of yourself may have had trauma from a very young age. So you will have to nurture and soothe that young part of yourself. Another important part of healing yourself is grieving the loss of not having had a healthy parent. You may have grown up seeing friends of yours having parents that were healthy, and you look at that and you think, God, I wish I had that. Well, this feeling that you wish you had that is grief. It's grief that maybe you never got to express because you had to hold it together, because you had to survive your childhood. But this grief needs to be felt. This grief needs to be safely expressed. And you can feel angry as well, because angry is also part of that grief. Angry protects you. Another very important part of your healing is to set boundaries with that parent. You do not have to do what they say anymore if you're an adult. You do not have to feel guilty or shamed into doing things for them. These are all tactics. These are all things that you've learned from a young age, but that no longer need to affect you. And yes, you will feel guilty when you say no. And yes, everything that you do differently now as an adult will feel really uncomfortable. You will feel a lot of resistance because you're going against all the programming you've had. But this is a really big part of the healing, is to keep pushing forward, is to keep pushing through those uncomfortable emotions and that resistance, and reminding yourself that this is you healing, that you need to make progress, that you need to be selfish and prioritize your needs because you weren't allowed to be your true self. A narcissistic mother has stripped you of your authenticity, and you need to get that authenticity back. So healing, so setting boundaries, so living life on your own terms is exactly what you need to do. Another thing you will notice that needs healing is that you may have a really strong inner critic. So the way that you talk to yourself is really negative, is really demeaning. So you need to change that inner voice. That's your mother's internalized voice. You have internalized your mother's criticisms, and you now have to start learning to be self-compassionate and self-nurturing and dialing down this negative critical voice of your parent that lives in your head. And lastly, try and notice unhealthy patterns of behavior that you have picked up from your parent, and try and break these unhealthy patterns. It could be that you're choosing partners that are just like your mother. It could be that you're people-pleasing too much. It could be that you're too much of a perfectionist and you're putting way too much pressure on yourself. Whatever it is you're doing, educate yourself, learn about it, and try and do it differently. If you're scared of somebody's anger, notice what happens in your body. And then remind yourself that that person's anger doesn't mean that you're in danger. It doesn't mean that you need to fix them. If you're overly perfectionistic, if everything you do has to be perfect, remind yourself that it doesn't have to be perfect. You feel like it has to be perfect because maybe your parent was always having a go at you growing up and telling you that it had to be better and telling you that it had to be better. And that voice is all you know. So you've internalized that and you keep telling yourself that everything you do has to be perfect. But it doesn't. You can change that slowly. Just keep repeating the opposite to yourself. You will create a new muscle memory that remembers that the positive is more important than the negative, that you don't have to be perfect all the time, that you're not in danger if you make mistakes. All of these things are a huge part of healing. And of course, if you need support, then please reach out. I do offer coaching to those of you who need that support, and I'm also doing one-on-one art therapy sessions online as well as group art therapy sessions. And a lot of these group art therapy sessions are to help you heal, are to help you get closer to that authentic part of yourself that needs the healing, that needs to see the patterns of behavior that are maybe not helping. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. If you want to share your experience at all, then please do so in the comments. That's the end of the video today. I will see you very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.